Welcome back to Logi, the podcast where we talk with the players shaping the front lines and back lines of Foxhole. I'm Tori, your host, and today's guest is none other than Squid, the most feared and effective partisan in the game. He's got a very impressive rap sheet, and he's here to break down the how, why, and what it means for the war effort. Let's dive in.
Yeah, my name is Squid. I mostly do partisan in the game. Killed lots of things, lots of BTs, lots of RCs, and bluefins and the like.
Right. So I've got a little story to tell, first, which is when my regiment goes hard on a war, build facilities, and we're going to go hard on that. I really stress that you personally are hunting for us, and I need everyone in the hex and everything in the hex to be locked down. I want to continue
Yeah,
this story a little bit later, but like I definitely put a lot of stress, like that Squid himself is hunting me.
yeah, that's what I shoot for.
Yeah, you definitely you scare me a lot as a backliner, as a facility man. But let me ask you, how did you get into partisan play and what keeps you coming back to it?
Just watching YouTube videos basically. Got into it back in the early 100 wars. I've been playing it ever since. I have like 5,000 hours now, and just been doing it since. Really got into it in 110. Killed like 10 RCs, a bluefin, couple battleships, stuff like that, and been killing more and more as time goes on.
Right? Do you play mostly Warden, or I know you play Collie too sometimes? Like what chooses which side that you play?
I'm mostly Warden loyalist, but I like to vacation from time to time. But when I vacation, I kind of just like chill, kind of a chill war. It's usually after big wars. Just want to change of pace, basically.
And one of the big things is you're known for being able to blow things up solo, but where I get concerned is you're able to get a whole squad behind you and blow up anything basically. There's no limit to what you're capable of. So what to you what's more rewarding to pull off? Is it just going solo or with the whole squad?
I prefer solo. It's more like not adrenaline, but like more of a rush whenever you can succeed. With the solo, it's harder. If I can do a job solo, I'll always do it solo, basically, unless it negatively significantly affects my odds. But generally, I try to do solo as
Okay.
the first option.
Typically when you're in the back lines looking around, what makes you say, okay, this is a solo job or this is a job that I want to come back to with more people?
Well, well, solo's mostly for like BTs, RCs, stuff in bases, like stuff for like large ships, unless they're like parked out of coastal gun range and I can get a gunboat there. There's really no way to kill them solo. So those are more group ops for large ships kills or bluefins. BTs, SPGs, RCs, those type of things. I really do a lot of solo ops a ton, and also like top ops obviously require quite a few people.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely with the tap ops, and that's pretty interesting. You need a lot of people for that. But how do you convince 40 people at 4 a.m. to fill their inventories with stickies and go kill a bluefin?
Just the everybody wants to see it done and see it happen. It's exciting when those are killed. So basically, people just see the ping. They know that I'm pretty successful. I usually succeed, and they're in for a good time if they come, most likely.
Yeah, and then they're definitely in for a time. I remember joining one of your ops at like 4 a.m. and it lasted until about 7 a.m. Came very close to
Yeah, I can
succeeding.
do that sometimes.
um, so what's the most underrated aspect of partisan work? What do most players overlook when it comes to partisans?
The main thing is just psychology. Okay,
Okay.
surprisingly, it's like you have to think about the people that you're going against and what they're thinking when you do certain actions. Like if you kill this tower, or if you kill this obs bunker, and if you kill this chain of obs bunkers, or you're causing more heat on you. But if you just clear like the tiniest route that you need, all that you need, and don't do extra, that's just one small example. But stuff like that, or if some guy's AFK in town and I'm planning a tap op, I'm not going to kill him and raise any suspicion. 99% of the chance he's not going to see me when he's AFK, basically, when I'm setting up. I just don't. Because then if he comes back to his body, he's like, oh, how was I killed? Something like that. Uh, just some psychology stuff, and then also really, really, really taking the time to scout intel, planning your routes, and knowing without any doubt that you're going to be off intel from point A to point B, and this is the point where I'm going to appear on intel, and this is how much time the enemy's going to have to QRF me from the point of first intel contact, basically.
That's one of the most amazing things about being on your ops whenever I'm there is you have the timing down. You know how long it's going to get you from point A to point B, and I think you know what the QRF response time is. You know when
Yeah.
you're going to be in within range, and I guess the way to figure out QRF response time is either as soon as they see you and then spawning in and then being able to run to where you're at, or
So there's two ways to deal with QRF.
okay.
The first is you plan your route and you know when your first point of intel contact is, and then like how far their spawn is, like when, like if you're bringing lots of people, this is mostly for lots of people. Like if you're bringing 30 guys, uh, you're gonna the first point of intel contact, you're gonna get a huge amount of people trying to spawn into QRF. If they don't have time to do that before, say you kill their spawn point, like for a tap, and then they have to spawn 600 meters away, they can't get there in time and stop you. It's like from the first point of contact, like say I would want the town hall to be down in 45 seconds or something like that for a tap op from the first time they see a large group. The other way to deal with QRF besides like first contact, this is where I'm first going to be on intel, is can I go fast? This is more of for small groups. Like say in an Argo, if I know the exact time to go from here to here, they're spawning in somewhere, but I'm so fast that they can't catch me. They have to return home, spawn somewhere else. They don't know where I'm going. Stuff like that. That's for like smaller groups more.
Okay, so let me ask you, do you know how long it takes to go 100 meters on foot, running as fast as possible? Do you have that kind of
Uh,
stuff
I can
figured out?
I have like good ideas. I'm just very good at like estimating on how long it'll take for this vehicle to go along the border and stuff like that. Like this edge of the border, this side of the border, from this point to this point is going to be this. From
Right,
this point
and
to this point, like we're gonna
obviously
like I
there's going
always
to be
choose a
rocks and
time when to
yeah.
leave, basically, because everything's different speeds. But no, I don't know on foot.
I see. I didn't. I don't know how much information, and you know, this is all, I guess,
Yeah,
calculations. And whenever you're part of an op, when you're planning your ops, they seem very calculated. Where you know, like you said, you do as much or as little work as possible so that they don't see you coming. You don't just blow a big hole in the way that you're going, but you kind of snake through and you know, it's like, okay, I kill this watchtower and this watchtower and they don't even see it.
yeah,
Um,
and that's also partly due to like the more failures you have, the harder it's going to get people. So like spending the extra time and knowing exactly like, how many mines you have to go through. Like you're not going to be having surprises. You're not going to get 2 hours into your op and be, oh, surprise guys, there's I didn't scout this bridge. We have to turn around. Like just not disappointing people. So that's a big part of it too. Really taking the time to make sure it succeeds. So people
uh,
coming back.
so do you at least know how long it takes a CV to rebuild a town hall? Is that
It's
something you've got?
approximately like 2 minutes.
Okay. How long does it take a town hall to fall when you've got enough guys there? I mean, what's the if
I
you've got
mean,
satchels
as
or
soon as we satchel, basically, I always try. I don't want to run more than like a minute from first point of intel that we appear on to the town hall dying. Like the town hall will be dead in a minute
yeah, so
from
it's got to be
when we
rushed down
first.
as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I'm not gonna appear on intel like 1,000 meters away with 20 guys and then go there. It has to be approximately like a minute from people first being able to see us on the map to town their spawn point being dead.
So when you're scouting and preparing for an op, what kind of gear do you usually bring with you? I know whenever I've gone partisaning, usually I don't even carry a pistol or a gun just so I can go faster. But do you?
I've recently started taking a dusk with me when one's available, like because I can use it to defend myself, and it just changes your stamina regen. It doesn't slow you down like it used to. But then it can also be used to suppress into tier two at the same time, so it gives you kind of a little bit of interesting flexibility.
Oh, that's actually really interesting. And obviously, you blow up a lot of facilities when you get the chance. How familiar are you with facilities, and do you know where the time sink is on facility players?
Very little. I have never made anything out of facility, I don't think. I'm told engineering centers, blast furnace, you can put their pipes, but I don't ever do that. Basically, I mostly go for the like engineering center, blast furnace, and then they're all their toys, their BTs, BTDs, RSC type stuff, SPG.
What's your most chaotic or epic partisan operation you've ever pulled off?
Let me think about that. The one I like the most probably was the baths tap up, just because it's never been done before.
Yeah,
Uh,
okay. So yeah, you were mentioning the Bats has never been tapped since the Bats had come out.
yeah,
And a
and a tap
previous,
up.
yeah, in a tap op. And previous, so let's talk about tapping for a second. It used to be called tapping because all you had to do was turn the town hall blue,
Mhm.
maybe put one tap into it
I
with the
think you
BMAT.
just had to press E. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just the
I
blueprint.
yeah, there was a back then there was a lot of confusion on if you actually had to tap it. Take a CV and just turned it blue, you would reset the tech. But now you actually have to fully build it out. Previous to you doing it in War 119, the baths had never been tapped.
Yeah, to my knowledge, it's never been tapped, and other vets have said the same.
Yeah, to my knowledge, I don't know of it ever being tapped outside of a full-on assault. Just
Mhm.
it's definitely always had QRF ready or that ability. War 119, that was a war where I think the Bats got neglected that war. Kudos to you. I mean, that's a great play by you, being the first person to tap that.
Yeah, and on an update war as well, the infantry
Yeah,
update.
on an update war. So you know what? You can't really blame that it got neglected as far as it just being a break war. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
huge.
My favorite war is 117 though. But that war kind of burnt me out from partisan a little bit from traditional partisan, like sneaking into bases. That war I went the hardest.
All right. And do you remember what your kill count or anything of that was?
That war I killed 18 Ares, 11 RSCs, 3 Bluefins, a bowhead, 2 subs, I think 2 DDs, 25 SPGs, 33 BTs, and 21 BTDs.
That's
And
insane.
and a third of that was solo.
That's absolutely insane. And you said it was 11 Aries?
18.
18. And then Aries is the colonial super heavy. Point that out. But that's awesome. And have you ever had a moment where you completely outplayed an enemy QRF?
Oh, all the time. It's hilarious all the time. Just it happens so frequently. My favorite time ever. I did not record it. I was very sad. There was like this one Reggie. I'm not gonna name them, but like I had stolen their was it Katusha
Okay.
and started firing it into their facility or whatever. And like 8 guys came on 2 separate jeeps, and I managed to kill all 8. And then I stole their vehicle and ran like 4 more over while they were respawning, and then they finally got me, but that was pretty funny.
So I take it was that I imagine that was the funniest or most unexpected thing is
That was the funniest. I mean, but all the time I trick QRF and get away from them. If I have QRF, like especially at nighttime, I'm very hard to catch. Like if you talk to some of the QRFers on Collie side, they'll confirm that. Like Harrison or Cello, they're like very good at QRF, but a lot of times I can sneak away, especially if it's night. And I know I have a mental picture of like where the obs are in certain areas of the backline. So I'll go to an area that I know is off intel. And how you do that is I just walk along the RDC and like can spot any. The RDC is 145 meters from border, and so if you walk 40 meters to the left and you walk down a straight line parallel to the border, you can scout any obs that can see the border. So stuff like that, and just going to a spot that's off intel.
that's really interesting. That's good partisan tip right there. That's a
Yeah.
brilliant one.
So just knowing where to run to when you know you have people chasing you.
How long have you played Foxhole for?
Since like 102, 104.
Okay, so it's been
102 I
after.
started, and then started playing a little bit more in like 104, 106, and the naval update. And but I have 5,000 hours. I've played quite a bit in that time. So.
Okay, so in your short time of playing, and I say that because I started before 1.0. How has partisan changed? How has partisan play changed from the
That's a good
different war
question.
updates?
Uh, well, obviously naval added a lot more targets, and one of the juiciest targets, the bluefin, which I really like to kill. I'm up to 12 bluefin kills at the moment. And then dry dock was super awesome because like you could like not pay attention and run around in the back line, and you would see stuff from so like from 40 meters, like 40 to 50 meters away, and like I could look at another screen and run to a destination in the back line, not worrying about getting shot. I mean, I don't ever really get shot, but now I just have to like right click more. It's just hard to think of on at the moment. There's a lot of changes that have happened.
Right.
Uh,
I know the husk buildings needing dehusked
oh
now
yeah,
is a big one.
that was very sad. I want like different wars I dedicate to different things. Like 115 was like ship killing. 119 I did a lot of taps. 117 I went hard on the traditional partisan. One war I wanted to go really hard on fire and burn down as many facilities as I could. But I never got to do that because they added husks. That was one of my things I wanted to do.
You mentioned that you have to do right clicking more and you can't see as big of a screen anymore. How many times do you get killed by a randomly placed rifle pillbox?
Rarely by rifle pillbox, almost never by rifle pillbox. If ever I die to something, it would be an MG, just because you have to react within like the first half a second and immediately turn around, maybe even shorter than that. But like a rifle won't really kill me. It can full stop me, but like after the first shot, I'll know I'm in range, and then I just run away. And even if it full stops me, I can almost always just get out of its range. Rifle pillbox isn't very worrying. Mostly running into a like if I'm paying attention and I run accidentally run into a MG pillbox, I usually react fast enough and you can instantly run away, like turn around and get out of its, and it'll stop shooting you like
Right.
almost
Hmm.
immediately. But almost never a rifle pillbox.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. See, whenever I go back lines, I die all the time to
Yeah,
rifles. But that's I guess that's my skill issue. But that's
yeah. Now
um
rifles are great though for other reasons. Like they're great at denying certain areas, like denying certain or making it more annoying. Like you have to bring a Malone or something to go kill them if you want to go to a certain like inside internal pills, or like they could be annoying. But I mean, ultimately, if you're in like a good base where you're suppressing it, you're already gonna have them alone anyways for the internal pills. But like rifle pills aren't bad. They're just not gonna surprise kill me. They're just not gonna surprise. They have other uses
all right.
basically.
Yeah. No, that's good. Now, are there any mechanics or tools you think should be added or removed?
Oh, one thing I want added very badly is the ability to dehusk a bridge. Not okay, so the middle part of the bridge that's broken, uh, would you can do say 20,000 damage to it, and the middle part goes away. Everything's still fine, and you can still press F and E and rebuild the blueprint on the top. But at least then a frigate can go by.
Ooh.
A frigate can't get locked in between two blown bridges. I feel like you should be able to dehusk the downed part of the bridge and drive through. Other than that, honestly, I wish like all the Skynet and all the stuff going with it would go away as well. But I never expect this to happen. But something that I would love is the ability to at least to steal ships with if you bring say 10 people, but I know that's never going to happen. The other thing, oh, there's so many things. More and more is coming to me. The other thing is, like, please let me be able to steal an enemy plane in the plane update.
Oh
Uh,
man.
the
Uh,
the other thing, like listening the airfield, watching them come out of their hangar, whatever it's stored in, getting ready to take off, and then surprising them and shooting them out and hopping in. It's already fueled up and flying away. Or like so, I mean, obviously there's going to be air defenses, stuff like that. But I mean, we'll have to see how that plays into it. Can I have two guys supporting me with havocs on the air defenses to snipe those at the same time that I kill the guy in the plane? Just like the at least the even if it's extremely difficult, I don't even care if it's extremely difficult. Just the possibility that it can happen, it would be make me happy. Also, I wish there was a way to tell with an easier way to tell if a base has deployment point. Because currently the only way I can really guess at that is to listen and kit the base, and then just like this is more for cap ops, and then just like watch the map for like an hour and see if it looks like it's a spawn point or not. Like, because if it's not near a front, there's no reason that that enough people would have their spawn there that they're like dying and respawning there. It's more likely people are coming from home region if they're spawning in there, in a decent number. Amphibious tank would be sick, but I doubt that'll happen too. But yeah, there's a lot of things.
Okay, no, those
Mostly think
go ahead.
mostly things that benefit partisans, but so take it with a grain of salt. But
And okay, so I that leads to another question. Do you think partisan work right now is balanced? And is there any changes you'd like to see on that?
I really think it's in a good spot. I know a lot of people that do facilities disagree because they say like a lot of my time goes into this. I mean, a lot of that time is automated also, but people don't understand that the amount of time that goes into scouting and the amount of time that goes into actually killing the items is for most people is like 5% of the time they spend partisaning, or less, or like or 2 to 5%. Like the majority of the time is you running around the back line, avoiding QRF, and there's a lot more time that goes into it than just I'm just gonna randomly walk to this base in the back line and get in, and like there's a lot more that goes into it than people. But I think it's in a good spot. I think the ability to punish players for poor building or stuff like that, or not active enough QRF. You should be punished for not having enough active QRF. Stuff like that, I think, is good and balances out being able to get away with everything for free, just making as much as you want, basically.
So I guess
But yeah.
one of the big things with facility players is their or backline players is they're limited with MSUPs. There's definitely been talks to making that easier versus when MSUPs is an issue and it becomes difficult, then it means there's going to be less defenses and more struggle keeping those defenses up that keep people like you out. So if there is relief from the devs on MSUPs, does that scare you, or is that just
Uh,
something you would have to figure out as you came to it?
so it's tough to say. Like I feel, at least from the partisans' perspective, it feels balanced. Like, but also, especially now in the day of Skynet and stuff like that, that's made like the partisans' jobs harder.
Let's take a
I would say
second. Let's go ahead and take a second. You want to describe what Skynet or WOBS is? Do you want to explain
I
what that is?
I probably don't want to get into WoBs, but I'll get into Skynet.
Okay.
Uh, Basically, from at least from the partisan perspective, it seems balanced. It's hard to say with MSUBs because I've never done MSUBs, so I have no basis to go off of that. How difficult it is and how much upkeep it is. But all right, at least from my perspective as a partisan and other partisans, we see it as kind of balanced. It's especially with recent tools that have come out like Skynet, where people are using computer programs to monitor the map, and any ping on the map shows up on a Discord bot that pings anybody that with that Skynet label. Uh, so and it has perfect tracking. It basically never misses. There will never be a partisan in the back line while Skynet's running that it does not have clocked, basically. So it's a perfect tracking tool. And basically, as a result of that, there's been more QRF. And whenever on wars that it was turned on, there was a small little truce for a couple wars, but it's back on now. And so I can't really say much to MSUPs because like I've never worked on MSUPs, never like made them or produced them or anything or build them up. But I will say like especially with new tools like Skynet, the partisan's job has gotten harder. Like there's more QRF and stuff like that. I really do think it's in a balanced state, at least from the partisan perspective. It takes a lot of time to get a kill. The majority of your time is kind of boring, not gonna lie. Like a lot of it's running through the back line, and you might die prematurely, or like a lot of newer partisans will die to like AI and stuff like that more frequently. And so like a lot of your time might be wasted. Only a tiny, small percentage of your time is actually killing big assets. Uh, I would say it's. I have no idea on like the perspective of the builders, like how much time it takes to build these things, but I know it's a lot uh, to get all the materials and stuff. But I would say I would guess that it's pretty even. Uh, honestly.
And this is where I really want to get into kind of a deeper conversation with you. So partisan
Yeah.
ops often require playing at odd hours or staying up late to catch enemy facilities or QRF sleeping. And have you pushed yourself to the point of exhaustion? And how did you feel afterwards?
Uh, I mean, there's obviously an advantage of being later. Like, there's less people on, stuff like that. For normal partisan, not much. Not I would say it's not that much significantly more at like late hours. But for like other big stuff, sometimes, and then sometimes it also just runs into those hours. But as for exhaustion, the only thing is after 117, I went like really hard. I got burnt out for like 2 wars on like traditional partisan like BT, SPG, and all that. Otherwise, pretty good. I've kind of gotten tab ops lately. It's more of a nicer balance. I'm really quick at scouting. Like, I'm really fast at scouting. I basically just go scout every major VP that's on the front line and some in the back line that are potential, and then just figure out what I want to do, if I have any plan, if I can figure anything out to get in, basically.
So do you think the adrenaline of a successful partisan strike makes the lack of sleep worth it? I mean, do
Uh,
you stay is that something you do a lot, is stay up when you make these ops if they have to happen at a weird hour for you?
yeah, but I'm also a night owl, and my classes are night classes, so I basically just come home, I play the night and into the morning a lot of times, or like I'll play before my classes, and then I'll just sleep till like early afternoon a lot of times. So
All right. And then you said you have been burnt out from partisan play. So how do you balance the game with real life health and responsibility?
just playing to where, like, making sure there's a balance, making sure you get stuff done, and then play when you have time.
Okay. And then partisan play can be a bit of a roller coaster with high highs and big
Yeah.
successes to low lows and field ops and getting caught. How do you handle the emotional swing?
Definitely, it definitely sucks. Anytime I fail, it eats at me a little bit. I hate failing. Like, I'll think about it for like the next 2 hours. Like, what went wrong? Like, how did that happen? What was there? What caused them to go here? Like, stuff like that. Like, I try and think about it. What can I learn from it? I hate it. It honestly kind of motivates me a little bit more to not, because I don't like leaving things on a bad note. So like, it kind of motivates me more to go harder, I feel like, when I fail.
Okay. And do you ever feel guilty for a successful run? I mean, do you feel
Uh,
guilty that you've blown up somebody's hard work?
I have before. Uh, I have before. I've actually stopped myself from killing someone who is a friend stuff. But but also like clans like CAF, when they're the other side. I mean, they're my old clanmates. Like, I used to play with them back in up to 115, I think, or 114. And like, I'll target them when they go Collie, when I'm Warden, stuff like that. That's fun. That doesn't. I don't have any remorse about that. But sometimes I feel bad.
I want to kind of take a break there, and I don't want to make you feel bad for partisaning. I do feel more rewarded whenever, as a facility guide, knowing that this is risk. It's risky for me to make this in the back line and ship it up to the front line. And that risk is part of what makes it more rewarding in the end, is having people like you hunting for that. So, like I said, I don't want you to feel guilty, but I was curious if you did feel guilty.
Yeah, off
Um,
of that, I really agree. I feel like I think the risk being there like is a good thing, and like also punishing bad play. Like, if you just build a facility for BTs and you have no defenses or rifle build defenses, you should get punished for that. Or if you, I mean, honestly, and if you have a poor conch base, like a poorly built conch base, you learn from that, refine your building, get better, you can minimize 99% of partisan attacks. Some ways. Yeah, with just becoming a better builder. Now there's only small groups. There's only like 2 groups that make it that hard. But ultimately, like you should even incremental building prevents a lot of partisans. Like incrementally better, you'll get hit less, you'll lose less on hits, stuff like that. Like I think that encouragement to build better the next time is a good thing, and punishes like laziness of not having enough defenses when you're producing these high value assets. I think that's, and also the learning curve of just getting better over time. But
Do you think that the game's design encourages unhealthy play habits for partisans or people that want to defend their facilities? And should there be systems to help mitigate that?
yeah, because obviously because of the 24-hour nature of the game. I mean, the people were from all time zones, but there's definitely like incentives for partisans to play later, and as a result of that, defenders to play later. I mean, that's basically in any game. You just have to try and balance it, and do your best to protect it. The number one thing against partisans, more than even building your base, is having good QRF. Like like Calf builds good base, but the number one thing that makes their base hard to kill, or hard to kill their RCs and stuff when they make bases, is their QRF. Calf has like really good QRF. Like they respond quickly. They're always watching their map around their base, stuff like that. Like their reaction time is way higher than and other clans like that are just a higher. They're like on you quick, stuff like that. Like Javali, Adam, stuff like that are fast, watching the map. Other ways is just I mean like, but in so like in that case I basically I don't remember which war. It might have been like 112. I think they went Collie. They were very fast Q off all that and good base. They had like checkerboard, decent. At that point, they're super fast. So what I do is I just do a big chieftain rush. Basically, got in, killed RC, and traded basically the chieftains for the RC. Yeah, QRF is also like some clans really are on top of their QRF around their base, but only a few of them. There's not many that are that good.
So, do you ever take break from partisan and play other roles, or is partisan it for you and Foxhole?
I think it's basically what do it. There's so many aspects to partisan. Basically, like I typically switch between aspects of partisan. Like in 115, I went heavily into ship partisan, so killing backline anchored ships. That where I killed 5 bluefins and a bunch of destroyers and 3 battleships and sub and all that, and not as much land, very few like land targets that war. And then 117 basically fully focused on land targets. I mean, also I did a Pearl Harbor that killed 3 bluefins, but basically that war. So naval war, land based. 119 is more tap bot based, and I just kind of switch back and forth. And then like some wars, I just do whatever basically. But like if I want a big change, like if I want to switch things up after if I'm kind of getting bored and want to switch things up, I'll just heavy focus into one aspect. Like the other aspect that I haven't really touched on yet that I want to try at some point and spend a full war doing is killing like conch on the front line, like doing ops to kill conch. Not on the front line, but just behind the front line to open up for pushes. Basically, kind of like Kiwi does that really well. Adam does that. John and some others as well.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like it's kind of partisan esque. It's like you have to worry about the intel sneaking in. How much time do they have to respond? Like what's your damage output, stuff like that. It's very similar. I haven't really touched on that yet, but I will at some point.
Sure. No, those are huge. Do you have any major goals that you haven't accomplished yet in partisaning, or
Uh, one of them I don't want to say, but a second one I want to kill more nukes. I've killed 2 so far. One was kind of LARP. It was the 420th, but I definitely want to kill more nukes, more bluefins for sure. As for goals, obviously tapping major towns. Like I want to keep tapping towns basically that are big and big deal. Like especially in PF towns, maybe. That's basically it.
okay? Do you think your actions as a partisan has have had a direct impact on a war?
I mean, it's hard to say, but I mean, I feel like it does, especially in 119 with the top ups. Like Baths was taken, like we pushed a full hex of territory from like Stone Plank to Baths in one day after the tap op as a result, because of the energy and morale. Morale is a big thing, especially for tap ops. That's kind of their biggest benefit is morale. Like it really raises morale, especially if it's like on a major town. As for bluefins, I think mattered. Like killing those, I think help a lot with at least the Logi access in the front line, but it's hard to quantify truly. And also for like focusing on land targets, it's also really hard to quantify how hard it is to, I mean, how much of an impact it's having. I mean, like, but like for example, in like 117, like obviously I have friends on the Kali side. They were telling me because I was killing a bunch of RCs that war, killed like 11 that war, but they were saying they were struggling. I don't know if you remember the big giant base at Foxcatcher, right?
I
Like
think I think I remember it.
after that op, they were like in a few days later, whatever. I was talking to one of my buddies on the Kali side, and he was saying like we had to scour the entire faction for an RC because we didn't have any available, because they had all been killed or whatever by partisans. So like that, and I had like the majority of the partisan house kills. Also, another thing I would like to highlight is the two Discord servers. A lot of people don't know about that. There's a Warden partisan Discord, and there's also a Collie partisan Discord. So if you're interested in partisan,
How do they find these discords?
uh, you kind of just have to know a person that's into like a partisan player.
So maybe just
They're not
ask in all chat.
advertised. Maybe. LARPers is the Collie version. I don't know their rules on how that works for inviting people, but basically just like if you start partisan, run into some like people or make friends with other partisans, you can ask them about it. The Collie version doesn't require vouching, but the Warden one still does. But so for the Warden one, you have to have a partisan vouch for you that you know what you're doing, basically.
Okay, no, that's
Because
great
because
point.
how that works is we ping for players. Like if we have a target in mind, we ping for players, explain the plan, they follow us in, and they have to. Like you don't want people making mistakes that have never done that stuff before, because some of it's you got to know what you're doing.
Do you feel like partisans get enough recognition for their contribution to the war effort?
I mean, it's nice. I mean, it's like whatever. I mean, people usually type it in chat, and like there's some apps, so that's nice. But I mean, it's not really talked about, but it's like a known thing that it exists and it kills stuff in the back line. Obviously, bigger targets get more recognition, like bluefins and taps, or like big facility raids. Like if you kill like a base with 6 SPGs and 2 RC or 2 RCs and a couple BTs, like that's a that'll get some whatever. But
Okay, so
uh,
I guess the last question I would have, other than Discord, getting into the proper Discord, what is some advice you would give to somebody that wants to get into partisaning?
I would highly recommend finding someone that's there's like the absolute best thing you can do is find someone that's good at partisan and have them teach you. There's like 10 people that are like good partisans maybe on both sides, to like for each side maybe, preferably them. Otherwise you could just join like anybody that does partisan. You can at least learn a lot of the basics. Like there's the 10 people, 10 players on both factions account for the majority of kills because they just have much more gameplay experience and much deeper knowledge on how to get on routes, on ways to get into bases. They know how to solo suppress. They know how to suppress into bases. They know how many AT shots are going to be shot for this tank going at this speed to go through this gap. How many shots are you going to take? How many shots does it take to disable this tank? Okay, if I'm taking a Spotha, it takes 5 ATGs to disable. It might bounce one if I'm lucky, but you can't count on that. If I'm going through a gap with 2 ATGs, is it going to fire? Is each going to fire 2 volleys, or is it going to fire that third volley, which is going to stop me? The good thing about a spot is you can go through two volleys of 2 ATGs, which is most common layout. Stuff like that. Knowing ranges on AI. I mean, it takes a long time to get good, and so if you could work with someone that knows what they're doing, like honestly, if you really want the cheat code on how to get good at partisan, is you would go to one of those discords, look at the top 10 highest kill, because there's leaderboards for each war basically, and there's like a competition every war on both servers, and you would just honestly look at who's doing the best each war, and then just like try and play with them whenever they ping for ops. That's the number one way you could learn the most, is just playing with those people when they ping for more people for their ops.
Now, I do have to ask you this: Are you the top on either of the? Honestly, whenever it comes to people that I'm afraid of, as far as partisans, your name is top on the list. I mean,
Yeah.
there's 11D, there's some other people I could name, but you are definitely the
The
scariest partisan.
the highest record besides me on Warden is 20 million points, and I have 60 million points in one war. Uh, so triple the next highest. And then for Collies, it's weighed differently, but like I think 50% higher than their highest person. I think their had 4.5 mil, and I had like 7.5 mil.
So it's very safe to say you are the top partisan guy. So I picked the right guy to interview here.
I would say so. Uh, not to, yeah,
Not
but
yeah, not to brag or anything for you, but you have made an accomplishment. I mean, you are the best, and honestly, I recognize that, and I think others should too.
yeah, thank you.
That's it for this episode of the Logi Line. Big thanks to Squid for joining me and sharing his experience as Foxhole's top partisan. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a comment. Until next time, make sure you hold the line.